thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Wow, another Wednesday already. If you're in the house, make some noise. Say ho. No, you don't have to say that. But I'm on the screen in 3, 2, 1. I like to do that because it allows me to test what's happening here. And I have a couple of things that I'm going to test before we get going. And I want to say hey to Christine in the house. Thank you, Christine. Christine is so cool. Christine, you reached out to me and I didn't call you back. So I'm going to go on record and say, I sorry. I was busy today doing nothing but what I needed to do. So charge it to my head, but not my heart. Okay. I'm going to do a couple things. Maybe I shouldn't have started my music. So why don't I stop my music? And I'm going to check 2 microphones. You may be able to look on my chest right here and see this little gadget that I picked up online for very inexpensive, and I'm going to find out how it sounds without any music or background or any effects right now. This is my studio mic that I use to produce all of my fancy commercials. It's a microphone designed for what it's designed for a reason that it's designed for that, and it's way more expensive than this one, and there's a reason why, and we're going to find out. So I'm going to do what they call an A and a B. This would be A with my fancy microphone, and this would be C. You tell me the difference. So I'll be able to listen back myself and see if there's a difference, because although this mic is cool, I'm trying to get fancy so that I don't have this in my face, and just to see if it sounds good. Or, you know, if I have a live guest on my live stream, I'll be able to let my guest use the lapel mic, this one, and then I can EQ it. So I put a little bottom end on it and I put a little compression on it just to see, you know, with a raw ear. So I haven't tested it at all. I just got it actually yesterday, and I picked it up today, and I just plugged it in like just moments before I came live. Anyway, my subject, I'm going to go back to my regular mic. Well, I'm going to talk on it for a few minutes and just to see if it sounds good. If it sounds good, send me a message or a fist bump, or for my technical people, just send me a thumbs up if it sounds okay. Because if it sounds okay, you know, when I listen to it back, then maybe I'll start using it. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to this one, and maybe we'll see how it sounds. For now, I like this one, and I'm going to keep it up. So I'm going to jump right back into my music. If I can find it. Did I turn it down? Where? Oh, I guess I muted it. Where's my music? Here we go. Come on, y'all. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Anyway, my subject tonight is going to be easy. I don't have a guest on purpose again. Hold on. What do we got here? Okay. My tech person says it sounds okay. Maybe I'll go back to it then. I'm going back to the microphone that supposedly sounds okay. Maybe it doesn't sound okay with the music in the background, but I'll find out when I listen back to it. But if my tech people says it's okay, I trust them 99.999% of the time. So with that being said, I do have a topic, and it's called No Show. I got a text before, and somebody said something about reaching out to me after the show. And I was like, there's gonna be no show. because I had no intentions of coming in and working on it. So I'm here, and I want to talk about no show, how people show up, if they show up, and why they show up. And I'm going to start with myself. The reason I showed up tonight, after trying to talk myself out of it, is because I promised I would be here. And my word to me really does mean something. If I say I'm going to do something, people that know me, I really don't feel good if for whatever reason I'm unable to adhere to what it is I say I'm going to do. So I'm the first one to practice what I preach in terms of saying what I mean and meaning what I say. So the reason I showed up after talking myself out of it is because I said I would be here. I think I may have missed one Wednesday night due to a flight, and I still came on even later. So I was here, I was on time, I wasn't feeling like it, but I said I was gonna be here, so I'm here. That's why I show up. If I show up, well, sometimes, I couldn't show up. Like I said, the one time that I was late, I had a flight issue. I was traveling a lot, and I couldn't show up. Sometimes people are ill for whatever reason. One night I didn't have internet, and that was a reason why I was unable to show up. Now, here's the big one that I saved for last: how we show up. Can we really talk about that? It's hard to be vulnerable, especially when you've got a reputation to uphold. So how I'm showing up now is what I'm going to expound on a little bit. Hasn't been one of my better days. Hasn't been one of my better weeks or months or years already. When you look at people, we all put on our makeup just before we go out the house, particularly women. When they talk about makeup, they powder their nose and put on lipstick and eyeliner and shadow and foundation, and they fix their hair and all that stuff. That's what they put on physically to go out and face the world. But psychologically, emotionally, and mentally, we put on so much. And it doesn't mean you're faking when you're out, because if everybody was natural, and don't try to imagine this, although I'm gonna say it, we can't go outside naked because there's a law against that. You imagined it, didn't you? I know you did. I can see it. I can tell you imagine yourself and or people out unclothed. Maybe I'll say that. We can't be but so natural. Here we go. Let me do that. But psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, we have to put on some clothing in order to get out there, because if we went out naked with just who we are concerned that we will be judged in a certain way. Sometimes when you feel like crying, you can't be standing in the line at the grocery store just crying because something is wrong, or mad because something's wrong, or just feeling sad because people can see that. So we have to put on a certain amount of makeup. So ladies who put it on real thick, as much as you might be judged for that, and as much as people may or may not like it for whatever reason, I understand why you might need to put on some, a little, or a lot. Because that's physical. That has to do with what you look like on the outside. But on the inside, we have to put on so much makeup. And if you are watching me tonight and said, why is he talking about this? I'm saying what you probably don't say or won't say. We have to put on our psychological, mental, and emotional makeup, because in this day and time, people are not feeling good. People really are not looking good because we don't feel good. And it shows sometimes. We can only fake for so long. And again, I use the word fake not to mean false or, being untrue, but it's like, you're still yourself when you have the makeup on. It's just what you put on to make yourself what would be considered presentable to those who just may be judging you. And why do we judge each other? I'm going to do something I just thought about. I'm going to open up both mics and see what that sounds like. I'm not getting off subject. I'm going to come back to that, but this just popped in my head. So this is two mics. I wonder if two mics, because, you know, in the studio, that's what we do. This probably is really cool, but why would I have two mics? I just want to see what it sounds like. So I've been talking on my lapel mic. I'm going to go back to the lapel mic, but at this very moment, I have both mics open and both EQ'd according to their function. So I'm going to mute again that, and we're back to the lapel mic. Okay, getting back to my point. How, if, and when, or if, when, and how. And I was on the how we show up. We show up according to, you know, where we are, you know, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Okay? I'm going to take a little break just because I want you to hear my promos, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about what I am thoroughly convinced of. Just for the record, this live stream, and I didn't even say it in the beginning, welcome to the swimming pool. It's talk segment, so to speak, a live stream I like to call it, because I don't like referring to it as a show, because it's not a show. I just say live stream because it's a type of podcast. But the reason I'm here is because I want to bring awareness to communication in general. How we listen, how we hear, how we pay attention to what it is we're listening to as well as hearing. And if we're talking about a conversation or communication, when someone is conversing or communicating, they're actually saying something. How we process that information differs based on who we are. What am I getting? A message here. Let's see what we got. Sorry for the delay, but thanks for your patience. It's just me. This is my therapy. Okay. Where was I? Oh, maybe my notes. I refer to my notes. Oh yeah, paying attention to what you hear. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm convinced of. You may think I'm crazy, and I just may be in some ways, but bringing awareness to this is something that has piqued my interest, and I just want to talk about it. Therapy for myself. So I'm going to do my, let's see what promo I'm going to do. I'm going to do the most recent one. It's called Your Greatest Strength. I can talk about it a little bit, but I just want you to hear it. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you what it is that I am thoroughly convinced of as it relates to how we listen and hear and what we walk away from and with when we finish any kind of interaction with anyone for any reason. So hold the spot you got. I'll be right back.
Your greatest strength. Challenges, adversity, and failure is where we find the greatest victories. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. People can judge you by what they see based on how they look at you. It's usually motivated by how they feel about themselves, and if it's negative, you'll never escape their thoughts. You can show them who you are by how you look at what's on the inside of you, which is motivated by how you feel about yourself. If it's positive, you are already free of their thoughts. An effective encounter with a mirror will always find truth. Time is not only money. Time is more change than money. Until we dig deep inside and face the true potential of ourselves, not even yourself can experience the truth of the fullness of your own destiny. The why of how we feel is the pathway to managing what we feel, and where we search to find it is the land of the free of who we find in ourselves. Repeat that 7 times. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. Hope activates faith. Dig deep and keep moving.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me and not leaving. I really do indeed appreciate it. I am your host, Travis Bridges, and this is The Swimming Pool. It's SWIM, S-W-Y-M. It is the acronym for Say What You Mean. And as I was listening to that particular promo, I was just thinking of a movie that I went to see. I finally took myself out. I went out twice this week. I went out one day to go and check out, the movie theater. I was just driving by, and I'm kind of weird like that. I usually go places by myself, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna check out the movie theater. So I go up to the counter, I say, I wanna see whatever's playing next. Of course, the new Jordan Peele movie was playing, Nope, and I went to see it, and I was advised prior to going to see it of what I walked away with. I did like it. It was kind of cool. Had some tough words in it, but I'm a big boy. I can get through that. But I can't say I fully understood a lot of it. But I enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's not bad. I like Jordan Peele. He's a great producer. But I'm saying that because as deep as he and one of my other favorites, Quentin Tarantino, they're deep with their stuff. I think I'm like that with my writing. When I was a kid, I didn't write. I didn't read a lot at all. It just wasn't my thing. I wasn't interested in it. Still not that interested. And if I'm going to read a book, I'm usually listening to it more than actually reading it. But I will read if I have to or need to or want to. But I find when I look at some of my writing, I get motivated and I start writing. And then I look back on some of the things that I have shared, as well as some of the things I haven't shared, particularly on social media. And I look back, things that I've written years ago, it's like, where was I? What was I going through? I usually don't put side notes, in what season or what's motivating my writing, because it's motivated by different things. I could hear something, read something, or be experiencing something, and then I'll start to write. But as I watch those movies and all the movies that are heavy and deep like that, I find myself in that same way, Kanal, when I start reading my own stuff, particularly after whatever that moment is has passed. It's like, wow, that's deep. I really have to pick that sentence apart. And it's just how I am. I think usually before I speak to the best of my ability, and I try to pick the best words that mean exactly what it is that I'm trying to convey in a communication or a conversation with someone. And I've really gotten, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but for lack of a better word, I've gotten determined to try to be as specific and as direct as I can in regards to when I communicate. And I know it kind of aggravates some of my family. It's like, oh, what are you talking about? I get it, in the front door and the back. I get it from the window, the side, down the chimney. My family gets on me about, being a little, what is the word I'm looking for? Analytical when I'm listening, but pray for me. I'm working on it. Back to my point. I was going to tell you what it is that I am convinced of as it relates to how we communicate. And I'm going to tell you, I am convinced that greater than 70% of the people that I witness, particularly in person, when people are on TV, they have on their makeup and their clothes and they're doing something different. Oftentimes, if it's politics, they are, they have a teleprompter or they are scripted for some reason. So you may or may not be getting everything that you're, expecting. But in terms of listening to people and interacting with people, I am convinced that many and most people, I said greater than 74% of common people say more of what they feel. There's nothing wrong with that because we're motivated by our emotions most of the times, especially if we're angry. If we're angry, we're going to see it in our eyes and our tone is going to say it. If we're sad, we're going to also see that in our eyes. If we're excited or happy, you can see that on a person's face. We have a tendency to communicate how we feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just want to bring attention to communicating what you mean. Because if you only communicate, or primarily communicate, what you feel, think, or believe, it leads to many misunderstandings. And that's what I'm trying to avoid in my life and bring awareness to, so that the world can be a better place, starting with each individual as well as all families, households, communities, neighborhoods, people on jobs, particularly in relationships with significant others, particularly married folks. So if you can, moving forward, try to pay attention to what a person is saying. In psychology, from what I understand, they know this. So when they're listening to someone, they're listening based on what they know and how people communicate. People have so many different communication styles. So if you are armed with this knowledge and this information, or you may be trying to, as a therapist or even as a friend, trying to diagnose the best way to try to help someone you care about or you're concerned about, you may want to take into consideration their communication style, and instead of either criticizing, just kind of sort of work, with, I don't even want to call it a shortcoming, but it's a skill or a style. That's what I'll call it. Whatever style they may be using to communicate. So with that being said, I am convinced that the majority, I'm trying to stay into my mic, but I don't have to. I can actually move this out the way since my lapel is working, but I feel kind of naked because this was kind of acting like a shield, to kind of fill up the screen a little bit, but I don't necessarily need it. Let's see how I look and feel just sitting here like I'm on the news. Maybe I can start using some, like lower thirds on my screen if I'm going to be here without this microphone, especially if this one sounds good. Now, I do know this, if I was doing a commercial that was going to air on one of these platforms, whether it be radio or TV, I would definitely not use this microphone because I would have to do so much post-production and, after recording it, EQing it. So like I've done some basic stuff on this mic. But on the internet, the bandwidth is different. So as long as you've got a good, clear connection, you can do that. So that's advanced technology, but you don't have to have fancy or advanced equipment because it won't allow you to utilize it as much. But there is no show tonight, and I'm calling it no show because I'm here, but I'm not really here. I'm here, as I said. Why? Because I said I would be here. I'm here how? Because, thank God I'm in my health and strength and my equipment is working, my internet is up. That's how I'm able to broadcast. And the way I'm here is, as vulnerable as I can. When you look into my eyes, I don't know what you see, but I'm okay. Just some days are better than others, and this may not have been the best one. Ever had a day like that? I know you have. Anyway, I'm only going to stay with you for about a half hour, so I'm going to listen to one more promo before I let you go. And by chance, if you'd like to talk to me, or if you have a subject that you'd like for me to talk about, I don't mind talking about it. I'm considered, according to my subscribers, a nobody. I'm really not a nobody, but my channel is not like at that point where I have tons of listeners, and that's okay. But I'm going to play this promo. I'm going to come back, and as I was saying, if you'd like to chat with me, or you have a subject that you'd like for me to address or analyze, it's just me. I'm not a therapist, not a doctor, not a lawyer, none of those things. I just believe I've lived long enough to analyze unbiased. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, that was Your Greatest Strength. This is entitled The Gain of a Loss. I'll be right back. Thank you again for hanging out with me and watching and listening, liking and sharing. I'll be right back.
The gain of a loss. There are no losses, only opportunities to learn and grow. To promote the idea that we lose when a clock stops personally or professionally is certainly a loss for a mind that thinks, feels, or believes as such. It's because of a lack of knowledge that we suffer unnecessarily. Just as it is better to give than to receive, the opportunity to move on from a situation that either no longer shares the same interests or that you discover irreconcilable is not a loss at all, but an opportunity to become a better you. No glass is half empty or half full. However, there could be an opportunity for less water or more glass. How about more vessels in general? No? Perception may not always be reality, but it can change the quality of our lives. Can we actually see what we're looking at? Or does thoughts, feelings, and beliefs blindly strong-arm truth? The gain of a loss. There are no losses, only opportunities to learn and to grow.
Only opportunities to learn and grow. Hope you got that. There was a message in that. And if you didn't get it, go back and listen to it again. I really like doing those. I have so many of those written down. And what I'm starting to do is just kind of transcribe them over into some audio and video by nature. I say nature, but by profession. I have a radio background, and you can't help but dabble into some video stuff if you're in that area. By the way, I'm back on the fancy mic now, and I'll be able to listen back when I listen back to see the difference and decide which way, or if I decided to go both ways, or when I'll use one or the other mic. I'm going to try to get a guest actually in the studio and set it up in here so that I can do some interaction. I'm also going to try to get a feed in where I can hear as well as see my guest, on the screen. Like if I have a guest, I can pipe them in. So like you're looking at me in this camera, you can also see them maybe, in the corner. You know how it goes. I'm just not, at that place yet and don't have a desire to just post people yet because I want my message to be strong. I want you to pay attention to what I'm trying to bring awareness to, how a person communicates as well as opposed to who they are and what they look like, what they're wearing, or how proper they can talk. Anyway, so back to my other point. Trying to say more of what you mean. So now I'm going to play my own devil's advocate. Does it matter? Does it matter if someone says what they mean? Is it okay if someone just says what they feel or what they think? That answer is yes, it's okay. But saying what you mean is almost critical if you want to avoid misunderstanding. Saying what you feel, because feelings change all the time. You ever feel a certain way about something one day and tomorrow you change that feeling? You have a certain... When COVID was here, everybody was scared to go somewhere. Now that it's died down a little bit, hopefully we're still taking, precautions we should have been taking anyway. But not everybody is emotionally freaked out, for lack of a better word, as we used to be, because our feelings and our thoughts about it, changed. So because feelings and thoughts and beliefs change all the time, I used to believe in Santa Claus at one time. I can't say I still believe in Santa Claus as much. But that's the point I'm making. Our brains are faster than any computer we use. As a matter of fact, computer is made based on how the brain thinks. That's what a CPU is. It's a central processing unit, just like this thing on our shoulders. And we can think faster than we do sometimes, and even respond or even react in some cases, faster than we can. So I believe if we start to pay attention to it, we can speak, more of what we really mean as opposed to just how we feel. So looks like it's going to be a short live stream. Swim, say what you mean. By the way, I'm thinking of doing something else. Let me turn off this because I need to get some versatility. So off goes this mic and on goes this one. Wow, I felt the difference in my headset. This mic, because it's down here, that distance between here and here is a long ways, and this one is shorter. Plus this diaphragm is huge on this microphone, and it has so much more in the capsule than this one. They're designed, different mics are different for a reason. So when you see different kinds of mics, different places, it's just like a different kind of vehicle. A two-seater is not an SUV, and it's, for a reason. Well, these microphones are built a certain way for a reason. And if you're in the business, like myself, you'll understand why they are different or why they may be the same. So I'm just kind of sharing that with you. Thanks for the 4 people who are with me and the 2 likes. Look there, I got 2 likes. I didn't even change my shirt, man. This was my shirt I took out. I'm taking boxing now. I was doing yoga for the last couple of months, and that was working out. It got my mind to a different place. And now I'm in the boxing gym, and let me see, can you see my knuckles? See my knuckles now, and look at them a few weeks from now. They usually turn dark and they get bruised, and then they get scabbed up because, I have a tendency of punching, but I'm wrapping my hands a little different, and I'm trying not to be so aggressive on the bag, but that changes. Remember, feelings change. Some days when the music gets pumped, I get pumped, and then those jabs and uppercuts and hooks, they come a little faster than normal. But anyway, I've been saying I'm gonna let you out of here, let myself out of here for a long time, and try to keep it moving as you make your way through the rest of the week. I'm just my mother's son, and I'm nobody famous, today, maybe never will be. But, if I had to leave anything behind, outside of the few things that I have left, in my honor or whatever my legacy will become, I really want people to pay attention to how we listen, how we hear, and try to do as best as you can to say really what you mean, what you really want to say. It's okay to have your feelings in there, but not let your feelings be the primary guide all the time. Not saying, people say, well, feelings are how we do everything. I'm not contesting that, and even your beliefs. You can't force your beliefs on someone else. So you can't start having conversation on just on what you believe, because you could have some wrong or false, misleading, or even some information that has not even been fully developed yet. So again, as I was saying, if there was anything that I'd want to leave behind, it would be paying attention, saying as close as you can to, what you mean, and that you've thought about it, and that you're choosing the best words, because some words are like, is it synonyms? They have the same sound, so to speak, but then they're pronounced differently. And some words have first, second, and third, definitions based on how we use words. So try not to take stuff out of context. And if you find yourself misunderstanding something someone may be saying, give yourself the opportunity to hear what they're saying. give them the opportunity to say what they really mean, because 99% of the times we're talking specifically based on how we feel, what we think, and what we believe. And there's nothing, we believe, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just if you find yourself in a misunderstanding or disagreement, go back and listen again, pay attention to what you're hearing, run, whatever you're misunderstanding through those filters that I like to talk about, through universal principles, points of references, the law, and ultimately, pay attention to what you're saying. One of my favorite books says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I like to also add to that, don't do unto others as you would not have them do unto you. So be considerate, be thoughtful, but also be accepting of the truth. I am convinced that there's an answer to every question. There's a solution to every problem if we're willing to go that extra mile or inch to find it, and then be accepting of it once you do find it. That's nothing worse than resistance. There's a saying that goes like this: what you resist persists. It's true in its own way. So find out what the best truth is, or the truth. Discuss it, talk about it, and be accepting of it. Till next week, take good care of yourself. Find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it. Do the best you can to show it and prove it. Okay? I love you. And if there's anything I can do for you, TravisBridges2 at AOL.com is how you can find me with an email. I have a couple of different phone numbers, so go to my website if you want to reach me. Till the next time, bye.
SWYM. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone, but you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on.